welcome to Business Talk Sister Gawk. I'm Becca, and today's episode is a terrific quandary. What does the tariff refund actually mean? I hope you enjoyed my pun there. And before we get going, this podcast is for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. Okay, so with me today, I have Alex Marcaccini, who is an accountant with
Marcaccini Accounting Services.
Dun, 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 dun. And I asked her to come and talk with me a little bit about what actually is going on with the tariff refund, because a lot of people want to know, prices went up, things were happening. So what does that mean for the average consumer? What does that mean for businesses? And what should you be paying attention to if you are a business owner that ordered things from another country? So that's kind of what we're going to be digging into today. I'm really excited about this because it kind of seemed like a fun idea.
Yeah, it is definitely fun.
Okay, so what do we know so far about what's going on with this tariff refund that is apparently available?
Well, it sounds like business owners can file claims to receive refunds on tariffs that were paid if they have an account within the ACE system.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. So first of all, the refund is for business owners.
Yes.
Okay, so the average consumer really not going to see any kind of refund.
That is what it's looking like.
So if you were a business and you had to raise your prices because your cost of goods went up, you're not required to give anything to the consumer right now. The consumer kind of lost out. That's a bummer. But you potentially could be eligible for some sort of refund.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what this ACE portal is.
The ACE portal is officially called the ACE Secure Data Portal, which stands for Automated Commercial Environment, and it's the U.S. Customs and Border Protection's web-based system.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, so basically, it's where you log in and can see all of your Customs and Border Protection information.
Yeah. And so does the average business, I don't even know this, maybe I've never created one before, maybe I should have?
I've never created one for any business either, and I've never heard of it until researching this. So.
Yeah. So with that, we kind of started doing some digging because I have ordered things from abroad before, and I've looked into quite a few different ways that I've done it. I've had to manage my own bill of lading and do a lot of the stuff at customs and duties. I pay those things myself at the landing dock, and then if you don't have an assigned logistics company, you can get one there, or sometimes your person who's exporting to you coordinates shipping. And so I've actually gotten stuff sent to me by UPS, and then gotten a bill in the mail later for all of the stuff that I still owe for customs after it's in the country. And I know that this is very different for each product depending on what kind of products you're ordering, because some of them, maybe they're food and there's a whole lot more USDA inspection stuff on making sure there's no spiders in your grapes and whatever else. That was a real thing that actually happened for somebody else. But basically all of those different things have a lot of different transportation and logistics companies that are involved in those processes. So depending on who your exporting partner is, if you have someone on the ground, they may be offering potentially to file this refund for you on your behalf, right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Okay, so tell me what you were able to learn so far.
Okay, well, so it sounds like if you have that ACE account, then all you need to do is log in and go to this form called a CAPE form, which is just a CSV file where you need to list all of the IEEPA entry numbers.
Okay, so the IEEPA entry numbers was something that I didn't know where we could find those.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like if you use the ACE Secure Data Portal, you can log in and run what is called an ES-003 entry summary report. And from there, you filter on HTS codes that begin with 9903.01 or 9903.02 to isolate those IEEPA entries.
That sounds like the most accounting thing you've ever said.
There's so many acronyms in there, and I
Yeah.
can't tell you what all of them mean because I do not have them memorized.
Okay, so here's like my undocumented theory. I think that once this gets figured out, it's going to be a first come, first serve. I don't know that to be true, but based on the way this is getting set up, like we just put a call into UPS today actually, because we were trying to figure out like under their FAQs, what tariffs are eligible for a refund. Well, the thing is, we were not able to find who actually can apply for like the refund because some people have, you know, like an person that's going to do it on their behalf, or they may not even have that number yet, that IEEPA number. And even calling UPS, they said, sorry, we don't have guidance from upper management yet on what we're supposed to do with this stuff. You can only visit our FAQ page. So refunds do only apply to 2025 tariffs collected under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which is the IEEPA, okay? So there's got to be a number associated with this.
Yeah, and it sounds like, from what I found, it's an 11-digit number code.
Okay. Which I've been looking all around the interweb, and I've been finding that people are volunteering to do this for their customers. If you were the person that like imported and you're the person who handled your customs and everything and you have receipts, you could potentially be the person that's filing for this, or you could be going to somebody like UPS or another logistics freight forwarder who is going to handle it for you. And that's where you just kind of need to start getting your ducks in a row if you have no idea, figuring out who you ordered your stuff through, how many orders you made, where your receipts are, and then start the process of being prepared essentially to work with that logistics person if you have not created your own account and have not been doing all your own stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So what else do we know so far?
Well, after you put in this request, it's saying that it could take 60 to 90 days for you to receive a refund. I did find on the website that small businesses are prioritized for these refunds.
Hot dang. Yay!
That's good news.
Sorry. So if you're asking for 30 cents back, you will be in the running for getting disbursements first.
But I believe there's only 166 billion or million?
Yeah, 166 billion.
Available. So, and I've watched some videos that say that people are applying and have applied, so it's already starting.
But certain freight forwarders like UPS still don't have their stuff in a group for what they're doing. So it might be beneficial to figure out what you're doing before they get their stuff together.
Yeah, and I also found that you can request this information from your customs broker if you're struggling to find these IEEPA numbers. So hopefully that will help.
But like I was kind of saying, if you have a freight forwarder, they may be also your customs broker. It really just depends on the company because sometimes they do more than one thing. So you really have to look. And what I've been seeing is that for UPS specifically, they're doing a phase 1 of processes to only handle certain unliquidated entries and certain entries within 80 days of liquidation. And so that means that there could be a huge backlog of stuff that they're going through, which I totally get it because, I mean, if you have a company as big as UPS, you only have so many people in your accounting department.
Yeah, and it also sounds like that phase 1 is just the whole program. So the whole program is going to have a few different phases. So we'll see what the others are.
But the exciting part about this that I wanted to talk about was that, like, if you potentially were somebody who imported goods and you didn't think that you were going to be able to get anything back from, like, the fact that you just got hit with a massive cost and maybe didn't have the time to go through increasing your prices to consumers, there could be a potential benefit for you here. And if all of those applications are first come, first serve, it means that you should probably get all your ducks in a row to get your name in. Otherwise, your refund's going to be a very long time out.
Yeah.
Either way, your refund's going to be a long time out.
As long as they don't run out of funds before then.
Da, da, da. Yeah, and that was another thing that we talked about. I don't have any, like, real justification for this, but in my experience with any kind of federal or state funding, if you are not in the first amount of, like, people that they're trying to push through, they basically they run out of money. I don't know how it happens, but they do. And I'm like, these books should reconcile. How are they not reconciling? So, and later on, a lot of people are like, oh, there was fraud or whatever. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's true of this program because I'm not running this program. But I'm just saying that, like, there is potentially room for oversight in those aspects because it's being thrown together so quickly.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have everything ready and keep it in a nice folder documented, because if you ever later get audited, you're going to want that too.
For sure. Definitely keep all of your records.
Okay. So is there anything else interesting you learned about this process?
So from what I've seen, it sounds like even though they are prioritizing small businesses, some small businesses might not actually receive these refunds because they are not the importer of record or the authorized customs broker, which are the people who are eligible for these refunds. So they don't have this IEEPA number and have no way of getting it.
So basically, if you handled everything and you're the logistics company and you paid the customs and then just upcharged your customer, you get the refund and your customer doesn't.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen in a lot of these videos, people frustrated by that.
Mm-hmm. Which, what does that actually do to our economy? Really nothing for the businesses themselves that were getting hit with the upcharge. So there could be a lot of businesses, and, like, hear me out, average consumer. There could be a lot of businesses that are importing. They're not getting this refund either. And it's really just held up somewhere within maybe a larger company that's getting to take a huge tax benefit. Or would it be benefit? Tax benefit?
Well, I think so.
Because it's a tariff refund?
Yeah, I don't think it would be taxable, but I don't know if they've thought that far ahead yet.
That is a good question. Does that count as income?
I would guess not, but you never know.
I think it would be. It would be. Okay,
Well, maybe.
anyways.
That's a topic for a different day.
That's an IRS question, actually, and how they decide to make that taxable or not if you're getting your money back. Anyways, well, I mean, if it was a mute cost, like you paid it out and then you got it back again.
So they
it's
would
a
basically
refund.
just zero
Cancel it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still like a boon to the logistics company if they get to keep it.
Oh, yeah.
Because how many of those did they do for other people? You know what I'm saying?
Probably many.
Yeah. Wow.
And they are the ones who have the information because they have the ACE portal where they can find all of these numbers.
Which is another reason, as a small business owner, you should really pay attention to all the people who nickel and dime you through the process of getting a shipment from another country.
Yeah, for sure.
Or another benefit of buying in the U.S. But let's go back to U.S. manufacturers, because there are a lot of people that are the ones bringing in product from other countries that are necessary for the build out of the rest of their manufacturing.
Right.
Or potentially raw goods that are necessary in the process. And I don't think there was a specification of, besides like what was already taxed as a tariff, right?
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was.
Yeah, because it's all like the tariffs that were put on. So if you saw your goods go up in price, even if it was raw goods and there was a tariff increase on it due to this this act, then you potentially have a claim that you should be thinking about. So yeah, you should really look through that International Emergency Economic Powers Act to see what all was in there as being an upcharge for the tariffs.
Yeah, and also it's interesting because on the CAPE form, all you do is enter the entry number. So how do you reconcile the dollar amount that you got back in your refund versus the dollar amount that you paid? Because it's not really clear how to calculate that dollar amount in the instructions.
Well, and I think too, like, if you go back to like before this IEEPA order was in place, right? You have the original tariff amount. So there's still like a tariff that you were paying
Right.
on your goods. And so like the upcharge is whatever the IEEPA put on it.
Right.
So you're not going to get your full refund of all of your tariffs you ever paid for your goods back. Which, yeah, so that's interesting, like, just to kind of even do the math and go down that.
To try to figure out what is this refund going to look like, it's probably pretty difficult to calculate.
Mm-hmm. That rabbit hole is good for your accountant. So if you want to talk to somebody about it, you should really think of talking to Alex Marcaccini. So when we were kind of talking about this topic, the reason why we were excited about discussing it is because we think that there is, well, first of all, a $166 billion opportunity. But who is the opportunity for? And I think there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, it's not worth my time to go after it. And I would question whether or not it is if you are a larger manufacturer. And if you know somebody who could benefit from it, I don't think it's being talked about like on a big level. And so I think it's worth sharing the news that this is going on and there's a process, because there could be somebody in your community that could benefit from the information.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you have that ACE account, it's worth logging in and checking that entry summary to see if you had paid any of those tariffs. Because it seems like it's pretty easy once you have that account to file the refund.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what does this mean for the average person? Well, you
Probably.
can educate other people in your community that would be valuable to.
Yeah.
I think that it has promise for doing something. Like, what if $166 billion were put back in our economy, right? Ooh. And you know what? We're going to talk about what is UPS doing for people who are working with them. Well, they are the importer of record.
So they're the people who will get the refunds.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to try to get that on behalf of their customers. So you don't need to contact UPS, they're saying. Please don't call us. Like, even in the like whole, when we called them, it was like, if you're asking about your refund, we don't have any information for you. But they're going to establish a process to issue refunds to payers after they receive the refund, which means that you could be at the back of the line.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So it sounds like these companies like UPS, they're the people who are going to get the refunds, and then you hopefully will get them from them. But where's the accountability in that?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of visibility within the freight forwarders, too, which is kind of interesting in that regard. Which is like a whole nother topic. So yeah. I really hope you picked a trustworthy freight forwarder. But it was just an interesting deep dive of like, wow, there's a lot of money that's just about to go back into our economy. I wonder who's going to get it and how it's going to look and who could qualify.
And from like the basic research before I deep dived into it, it sounded like it was pretty easy and a lot of businesses could qualify, but
But it seems, it seems like it's going to be a little bit bottlenecked in certain areas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, with the amount of like acquisitions and mergers that have happened across the transportation industry, it seems like there's going to be few and far between players actually applying.
Yeah.
But anyways, that'll be really interesting to continue to follow. And so if you have any information on this that you would love to share with us, you should definitely reach out. We have an Instagram. It's BTSG, like Business Talk Sister Gawk podcast _Diletto Art. And because I really don't want to manage more than one Instagram account. But yeah, and Alex had some more stuff to say specifically about the phases of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they did say this is only phase 1 and it's limited to those certain unliquidated entries and certain entries that are no more than 80 days past liquidation. So I'm excited to see what the other phases are.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure they're trying to like just process what they can with what like in tranches to make sure that they can kind of go through the whole thing. But yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Watch out, because sometimes like phase 3 is like, you know what? It's super stringent comparatively to the first ones. In my experience with like insurance claims or whatever else, it's like the first like couple hundred people that apply in a mass storm or something, it's like their claim gets auto approved through the whole thing because they see the the density and like the storm volume, whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, auto approve. But then once they like have allocated a certain budget for that, and the budget's getting smaller, all of a sudden they get more picky in denying claims and saying you didn't provide the right information. And I'm wondering if like the phases in that regard are going to get more and more stringent and like be like, no, you have to do this, and this, because at first they're just trying to get rid of stuff, and at the end maybe they'll be a little bit more cranky with people.
Yeah, potentially. I guess I will see, but it's interesting because it sounds like all you have to do is list that entry number and they reconcile it in their own thing. So seems like that would be pretty simple for them to do. Maybe.
I mean, one can only hope. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for being with me today, Alex.
You're welcome.
How can people find you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me via email. My email is alex@marcacciniaccounting.com. I'll spell it out because my name is kind of funky. ALEX@MARCACCINIACCOUNTING.com.
Sweet. I am so excited for that. Thank you for being our researcher on this topic.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're going to do a gawk portion for this episode.
Okay.
And so a gawk means to stare openly or stupidly. I feel like that's been this entire episode. But I was going to tell you a little bit about something interesting I learned on a project where I actually worked with a logistics company.
Okay.
So I was at a dinner and we were kind of talking back and forth about like the different like loading areas and whatever else that they have for different companies. And you know, when a thing like a shipment comes to the United States and it's not approved like to come into the country, I was like, what happens to that stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because like that happens a lot.
For sure.
And did you know that they have a destruction company? Like there's multiple companies that are literally assigned or like have a business, and that's all they do is they get paid to destroy people's merchandise.
Wow, that sounds kind of fun.
Right?
Take out your anger.
Yeah, because like otherwise they get stuck in like a storage container or whatever, and it just sits at the loading dock, and then you get charged these fees for letting your stuff sit there, and you are responsible for figuring out how to get rid of that stuff, and you literally cannot just like ignore it because they'll just keep hunting you down and charging you, right?
Yeah.
So these companies get paid to literally go and burn stuff.
That's awesome.
Like,
That's so cool.
and I was like, no way. Like, really? And I just had no idea that was an entire business industry of itself.
Yeah, I didn't know either. That's really cool.
But I mean, like, can you imagine the amount of like rejected stuff? I just can't even like to me, after I learned about that, the bigger thing for me was like that poor business owner that thought they knew what they were getting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like if you like if you order, let's just say like a bunch of toys or something, and then like they test it and they're like, oh yeah, this is with lead, you can't sell these. Like, oh man, what local logistics company or like manufacturer in the country, like did they lie to you or something and say yeah, and then like you pay for all this stuff to get there and all of a sudden you have to burn it all. Like what a significant financial setback. You know what I'm saying? Especially for a small business. Mm-hmm. Like that to me was just like, whoa, there's like a lot of risk there if you're trying to do something on a larger scale, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, anyways.
It's crazy.
A nightmare for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, you should give it a review on wherever you're listening, and I will see you next time.